Going.
All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the Best of 2016 Podcast Awards podcast. I, of course, am your host, Ursinity, and I'm here with my lovely co-host, my personal Vanna White, Mr. Proud. How are you,
That's
Proud?
the first time you called me lovely.
Well, it's a new day, being that it is 12/21, as we say, so it is quite literally a new day.
Right.
We, of course, are an award show podcast, as we do every week, every year, every, Thursday. So our first category is going to be the best animal to make it off of the endangered species list in 2016. What is your nominee?
Well, number one on my list is not the giant panda. Fuck this animal. It should stay endangered because it's fucking inefficient and no part of its biology makes any goddamn sense. They're cute, but honestly, they should die. They only live in fucking zoos, and anywhere else, they just fucking die.
My nominee is going to be the green sea turtle. I'm a big fan. It was a close call with the humpback whale, but I'm a sucker for turtles, not gonna lie. Tortuga is probably the only word in Spanish that I still remember from 4 years of it, so it has a special place in my heart.
Guadalupe.
Same. All right, next we're going to be talking about the best K-pop debut of all of 7.0. Best new group debut, an important distinction that I'm sure we all...
Of all of 7.0? Was that a mistake, or did you say that on purpose?
Did I say all of 7.0?
Yeah, you said the best K-pop debut for all of 7.0.
for 2016.
Piece of shit.
And of course the answer is probably Blackpink if this was an actual award show, but it's not, so we're going to give it to Card with their debut song "Oh Na Na," and I'm all about it. So,
and we'll also we know in advance best K-pop debut for 2017 is going to be Jaden Smith. Let him be a K-pop star.
Alex Reed made it work, and she's dope. So Jaden Smith can also make it work. I believe in African Americans transitioning into K-pop. It makes no sense, but it's awesome, and I love it. It's actually really good. And
Let him be a K-pop star.
Don't shackle him down. Don't shackle our boy. All right. Next category. Coolest hero change coming out of 7.0. Or just coolest hero coming out of 7.0. Not 2016. 7.0.
What do you got? No, what do you got? You first.
Legion Commander. She was barely changed, but she fits the meta real well. She's very fun to play. She's better in more like real core positions, and she's a lot of fun to play, honestly. I've had a bunch of really good LC mid games. I'm really about it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a strong answer. I think the easiest answer for me would of course be Queen of Pain, because obviously I like Queen of Pain, but I'm gonna say Magnus. I think we're gonna see a lot of interesting shit come out of Magnus in the coming days. I feel like he's a big sleeper right now, but he's real good.
Yeah, all right. Well, that concludes our award show portion. We will come back to being an award show podcast next week, of course, because we're weekly. This is what we do every week, right?
And be sure to check E! Entertainment News to see the dress that I was wearing, because it'll be on the front page.
Yep. And we'll, of course, be grading everybody arbitrarily on their physical appearances, as always, because,
I may even slip a nipple.
Yep, that's the plan. That's how we get publicity. That's how the podcast grows. Not iTunes reviews, not money, not nothing, just nip slips.
All right, so on that note, proud special. The nip slip.
On that note, let's hop into being a Dota podcast. Of course, this is Theorycrafting Thursday. So first, before we actually get into Theorycrafting or anything related to Thursdays, we are going to talk about our week in Dota. So, Proud, how has your week in Dota been?
My week in Dota has been great, man. I made it up to 5,100. Big milestone for me personally. I'd like to thank the Academy. And
the show's done.
My nipple just slipped out.
Move on.
Okay. So I've been playing a lot of I don't know. I've been playing. I'm still playing a ton of mid. I've been playing. I've been picking a good amount of Lone Druid. Like the game that I got 5,100 on was a Lone Druid game, and it was. I picked in mid, and then I got hard countered. But then I was like, hey, guess what? By the way, I'm playing Lonely Druid. So my bear just had phase boots and an Orb of Venom and a Quelling Blade and a Stout Shield and a Blightstone, and that was it. and then the rest was all on me. So they had all this shit to like kill my bear, like fucking amp damage and shit. But it didn't matter because I was attacking from like 900 range every 0.2 seconds with like Mjolnir shit flying everywhere. It was awesome. I love this hero.
You're playing that mid or safe lane?
I play it wherever, but I'm at the point, or at least at the times I'm playing, it's normally like me plus a bunch of like mid-low 4Ks. So I just like take mid. Like I picked it against the Shadow Fiend because I was like, yo, I need a hero that has a lot of good base damage, and kind of just my go-to for that is either Queen of Pain, but it's kind of hard to carry a bunch of like randos with Queen of Pain. But Lone Druid, starting with like 80 damage plus the Quelling Blade change is actually so good for Lone Druid because he starts out with 35 damage on the bear, and like you would get 40% of that, which is, you know, very little. It's like 18 or something like that. But if you get the Quelling Blade now, instead of giving you 18 damage, it gives you fucking like 24. So this is like the one here that Quelling Blade is actually like way better on. So I just like start quelling. He will never deny me in any fucking reality. And I also have like 85 damage to last hit with to like deny him.
Yeah, makes sense. That's interesting.
It's great.
My week, I mean, I spent all Wednesday show complaining, but today I had a few good games, and I'm feeling a bit better about Dota. Still not super jazzed about it. Still looking forward to. I made my like goal for the day. I was like, I'm not gonna play any solo queue. I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna watch like podcasts and stuff. And then like my real life friends were like, oh, let's play Dota. So I played a couple games and it was a good time. And those kind of like casual party games were nice and relaxing. I just took mid, and then I think. What was it? Let's see. They're all games that were like very mixed skill, and I just absolutely dominated, which was a nice way to take the edge off. You had a 14-0 LC game, and like a 16-1 Wind Ranger game. No, 24-2 Wind Ranger game, and then an 18-2 Ember game. So like all those were very like fun, like cathartic Dota games.
That's
so
good.
Yeah. Also, it was nice to play Wind Ranger again. Honestly, like that hero really got left in the lurch. And she still feels kind of not great as a
I think she sucks.
She's quite bad, honestly. Like I was super ahead, and I was still like barely killing people. I actually built Atos on her also, which was super fun. I did it mostly to break Lincolns, but also they had a Lycan who didn't have a BKB because he was shut down pretty hard, and so he would like be moving at like 8 million move speed. But I was like, oh, I don't care about that. I'm gonna root you. And that was pretty sweet.
I've seen a good amount of Wind Rangers. They don't go like the Deaths or anything. They just get Orchid, like old school Wind Ranger would just get Orchid, and you just do that now, and then that turns into a Bloodthorn later, so you still get like your big damage item or whatever, but you're not like completely reliant on your Wind Run for all of your like function, or not Wind Run. You're not reliant on Focus Fire is what it's called. Yeah, you're not totally reliant on Focus Fire. Like, you don't need to go straight into Deso and just have, like, you know, a 1 minute cooldown kill with the Focus Fire and then nothing besides that, because you have, like, I don't know, just and there's actually a lot of pretty good burst potential with just, like, you put the silence on them, and then you get a power shot in for 420 damage, and then it'll pop off that, and, like, it's pretty decent, but I'm a pretty big fan of the Orchid Windrunner. I think that may be, like, the way she works right now.
Yeah, this game was like a very casual game. Like I was just hanging out playing with friends, so I tried a very new build where I didn't even build Blink. I went Shadow Blade. So I went
that's cool.
Like Phase, Bottle, Deso, Ags, Shadow Blade, or Deso, Shadow Blade, Ags. I can't remember. And then I built an Atos after that, and then Daedalus. And it was fun. It was a good build, but the Atos was good and effective. But at the same time, if the game went very long, it was only a 43-minute game. If the game had went to like an hour, then I would have had to replace it, and it would have been like something of a waste. So it has its flaws, but it was fun. It was a good game. Other than that though, like I'm still not super into 7.0, but today breaking that losing streak helped. I'll say that. And not losing to Monkey King. I don't think I won one game with the Monkey King on my team, played by Grouty, because he's that kind of guy. And then I didn't lose to any Monkey Kings, so that helped, because boy, that hero is absurd.
I won a Bounty Hunter game. That was really fun. And Troll Warlord as well, so just experimenting with some other heroes. Of course, I played Bounty Hunter because I was like, man, I really want to get this level 25 talent. That'll be so fucking fun. And the game ends when I'm level 19. But for the Troll Warlord game was pretty fun. We played the fucking classic Skrunk Proud, Tiny plus Troll Warlord combo, and we stomped with it. It was great.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think the only other thing to write home about or to talk about, because I think we both played at this point, is Veil Ember Spirit. Now that's being popularized.
Yeah.
And like people were seeing the streamers, and now it's trickling down to even like lower MMR games, which is nice. And it's really, really good. I had so much fun playing Veil Ember Spirit earlier today. So if you have not seen that build, you should look it up, and it is phenomenal. It's so good. You just get like PMS, Quelling Blade, Bottle, Brown Boots, and then either go BOT's Veil or Veil and then BOT's, depending
I
on
would probably
the
go
situation.
Veil BOTs personally, but
I think most games that is the right call. But if you can get away with getting like the super early BOTs, that's like a whole nother thing. But yeah, it's incredible. Like even it's less about the actual spell damage and more just about like stats. Like it gives you the spell damage, which is amazing. Don't get me wrong.
yeah.
But just having that like +6 to all stats for such a cheap item is
It's
phenomenal.
and also like 6 to all stats and then 6 extra int, right? It's 6 agi, 6 strength, and then 12 int, and then it gives you the 6 damage, which is whatever. But the 6 armor is huge for Ember Spirit. Like Ember is like if you have Poor Man's Shield, he has like 2 armor, and without his fucking agi gain is like not great, and he has almost like what is it, either 1 or 0 base armor, something shitty like that. So the 6 on Veil is so good. Yeah, I'm glad that we figured out Veil for Ember Spirit. It makes a ton of sense. I used to go drums before, like last patch I would go drums. Even drum was pretty shitty. But like Veil is actually just, it has like all of the like fill out your stats aspects of drum, and then it also like does real things for you. Like gives you a ton of armor and this like magic damage thing. It's like a real transformative item while taking up your drum slot. It's really good.
Yeah, it's also nice that, like, especially what I felt in the game that I played it, was it gives you a nice, like, it evens out your power peaks, right? Because Ember kind of naturally, like, he's really good in that, like, right after hitting, like, 6 or 7 or 8, where he has, like, you know, a lot of damage off Flame Guard, he has a lot of damage and mobility off Remnants, and then he has the Root. But then you kind of, like, start middling out when you were building up to Battle Fury, because you'd hit that point where it's like, okay, I'm building a really expensive item. I have like my broadsword and my claymore, and so I do physical damage, but realistically that's not important right now. So you'd have that like weird like 5 minute or so period where you're not super consequential.
Yeah.
And then even after that, it'd be like, okay, I have Battle Fury, but I don't have anything to support that, and like I'm not super high level, so I don't have damage. So now with the Veil build, like, yeah, you have all the stats to contribute to fights, but also you can actually compensate for your like you can continue that point where your magic damage is consequential, even if you don't go into like a full magic damage build later. So it's great, honestly. I'm so like converted. I was a little doubtful at first, and then like I looked at the stats on the item, and I was like, oh hey, wait, this item is actually godly. So I love it.
Yeah, the fact that it gives him armor is what I'm kind of head over heels for. And then also, like, talking about the power spike things, like, maybe your magic damage is going to fall off at that point, but kind of the point where you have that and your travels and you're working towards your first Battle Fury, that's when your supports are getting, like, their kind of like power peak. Not that, you know, they're going to be as good as a mid lane or whatever, but they're starting to come into their own with their own like magic nukes. Your Sand King's going to have like the epicenter ready, your Lion's going to have Finger of Death, that kind of shit. So like as soon as other people's magic damage is getting there, you have your Veil to amplify like your team's power spike that's just coming up too. So I really like that kind of aspect.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. That's for sure. I think Ember Spirit, I think we can both agree on this. Ember Spirit's really good right now, so I will definitely be playing more of this hero and more Veil Ember Spirit.
Yeah.
All right.
We play like very similar mid heroes at this point. I mean, you play TA and Invoker, and I don't. But like, I play a ton of OD. You play a ton of OD. Ember Spirit's one of my few mid heroes. You're good at Ember Spirit. I mean, supposedly, I've seen you play it once, but I'm sure you're good. How do you feel about his new slate? You also play what?
I also play him safe lane sometimes, which I know you're not a fan of.
I think it's awful, but you know, that's just me and like every other person who's looked at the win rate. But you know,
I mean, I prefer it mid, but I've had fine success with it safe lane historically and currently.
I mean, if you have like a Shadow Fiend or something mid, it's okay, but you need like I would hesitate to do it on a pub.
Yeah. Oh wait, when I just did it today, we had a Monkey King mid, so he did all the physical damage, and I was all the magical damage. And then once I would root people in his ult. God, we don't need to talk about how we talk about Monkey King ad nauseum.
Yeah.
And then I play a lot of Ember. TA, that's really the only big difference because like a lot of my mids are antiquated now. It's like Lina, terrible. Invoker, pretty darn bad. And like I play
Morano's fine.
Morana's still fine. Yeah, that's true. I played a Razor game the other day. I'm looking forward to playing more Razor.
He seems fun.
I had a lot of fun with him. Yeah, that's like such a weird sentence to say. Like if somebody had told me at the end of 2016 I'd be saying Razor is a fun hero, I think I would be flabbergasted. But I actually think he's pretty interesting. So.
Oh, you play Legion too? I haven't. I play Legion, but I haven't played her in forever, mid at least.
Yeah, it takes like a couple games of adjusting to like the power spikes and how to lane it mid, but once you're adjusted to it, it's like it's so fun. She actually may be my favorite mid right now. Like just playing or TA is probably my favorite, but Legion's definitely up there.
Yeah, Legion is very cool for sure. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into our segment today. We're going to be talking about farming rotations and farming efficiency and all that in 7.0, and a lot of the like holdovers, or a lot of like the concepts, I think you would agree, are holdovers from any previous patch regarding like basic efficiency, like making sure all the gold that is on the map is off the map when it's respawning. Meaning,
I would say,
etc.
Like, efficiency has the same definition it used to, but what that actually means you have to do is the only thing that's really changed. Like you have the same goal, but the way that you go about it is fairly different, I think.
Okay, so let's get into that then. How has it changed?
Okay, so if you want to let's start from like the bottom up. All right, so if we're looking at this from like a safe lane perspective, what you're going to do is you're going to last hit as much as you can in the wave. Like let's say, I mean, obviously up until, minute 7 or whatever, you're going to last hit, and that's how you're going to be efficient. You're just not going to miss last hits. Sure, that's obvious. So then as you go on, once you're to the point where you just totally like shit on a lane real quick, and you can also take jungle camps, the old thing that used to do was you would kill your lane, and then maybe stack and pull the hard camp, and then like clear the wave again, and then clear the little stack you made. Or you can't take stacks, so you don't stack and pull, so you just kill it, and then kill the enemy wave, and then kill that camp, and then enemy wave, so on and so forth. But now that's kind of done, because you can only like the camp only spawns once every 2 minutes now. So being able to reliably just like take one camp and then push the wave out and just go back and forth in this one really small area, that's kind of gone. So what you need to do is you still want to push the wave out, you still want to get the tower and all that, but you're gonna want to try to get there to be more space in between what you do. So you're gonna maybe want to push the lane out as far as you can, and even like take the enemy tier 1 tower and maybe push it away further, and then go back to your jungle, and if you can, clear camps, and maybe go all the way like jungle to the bounty rune, and then go back when the wave is coming back. So you can't really have these like tight little rotations between one node and the lane, one node the lane, and so on and so forth. You have to have like a wide swath and a much longer term plan in terms of what you're going to deal with. That makes sense?
That makes sense. Yeah, so
this lobby that I was in,
less defined.
I was in a lobby just like looking at the map, and the game just ended because bots fucking pushed through, which is kind of funny. But
yeah, so basically the gist of it, right, is that in previous patches, and maybe this will change later, but in previous patches you could have very specific farming rotations where it's like, okay, if you're doing, these rotation of camps, this is like the optimal thing, right? You're going to farm your way through like, this hard camp, then the small camp, then the medium, then the hard. Whereas now it's more about, getting what you can where it is and making your way to objectives, right? Going from place to place, and less about like a hyper specific, like, okay, you take this camp at 2:15, take this camp at 2:30, take this at 2:45, etc.
Yeah, and if you wanted to, like the absolute most optimal thing to do is, of course, you want to at the very least take all the farm on your team's side of the map, and there are going to be times where the whole map is just like clear, like you've killed both sets of ancients, you've killed fucking creeps, like all that shit, and there's nothing left for you to farm, and the next set of creeps isn't spawning for a minute 20 or for another like 40 seconds or something like that, and all the lanes are pushed out. And at that point, like, that's when you need to just go look for like a gank or something like that. Like, you could just chill with your thumb in your ass for 40 seconds. But obviously, if we're talking about efficiency, that's not efficient. If you talk about, whenever I think someone like made some video at some point talking about anti-mage, and how like going to a fight isn't worth it because there's the opportunity cost of what you're farming. Same kind of principle you would apply here, but you would say there's zero opportunity cost for going for a fight right now because I would be missing 0 creeps. So as soon as it looks like everything's farmed out, that's when you want to turn your Shadow Blade on or smoke up with your team, or even just like ping like, hey, let's look for a kill here. Let's just fucking walk here. Maybe a kill happens. And that sort of thing. Especially because at the same time that you're done with all of your creeps, either the enemy team is done with their creeps too, or they're just finishing up. So you can kind of find them at the end of their farming rotation if you're very quick, or if you're not very quick, they may be looking for you or something like that. So it's kind of like, I want to say at every like even minute mark 30 seconds. So like, at 32:30, something like that. That's when you want to be like kind of on high alert, looking for a fight to start up. And then once the odd minute starts, that's when you want to go around and get your farm rotation going on. And one of the main things is you want to be on like kind of an even tempo with the rest of your team. Like, you don't want to finish the entire like offlane jungle real quick and then your carry is the only other person who can jungle. And so like let's say you're the offlaner and you're Axe, and at like 18 minutes you farm the ancient camp, the medium camp, and the hard camp on like the offlane little jungle area, and then your safe laner just like finished pushing a huge wave, and now they're like farming their way outwards like away from you, and they take like the hard camp and the medium, but they still have an ancient, an easy camp, and a hard camp to deal with. So they have like a bunch more camps to do, and you kind of finished all your shit. You're ready to fucking smoke and go, but this carry is like just has a bunch of other shit to do. Like that's not optimal. You want to like maybe finish your stuff and maybe try to get the carry to farm away like towards where you want to smoke. So let's say you jungled from like off lane towards the mid lane, and you want your carry to jungle from safe lane towards the mid lane. That way you both kind of like meet at the same time, and then you're ready to gank together. And it's kind of hard to control your team like that. So one thing you could do is like, let's say they're farming towards the safe lane, and you just finished farming the off lane jungle. Maybe TP to the safe lane to kind of their end point, and so you jungle your way towards them. That way your entire jungle is cleared, and you're both now available at the same time. And that's like a really key thing right now, is that you want to balance everyone's time spent farming. You want everyone to be farming at the same time and then ganking at the same time.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the big things, especially in like early laning phase, when like as a carry or as a mid, or I haven't offlane this patch yet, but as any of those roles, it feels like there's a lot less like pressure to, in the very early game, like in that like first like 6 minutes of laning phase or whatever, be taking camps. And even this extends past that, because they respawn so like at half the speed. So if I like, if I'm farming the lane and I would normally in a previous patch go and take the small camp just so I would get all that gold, and then it would respawn immediately, and kind of be in that like kind of tight loop of being like, okay, well, I want to finish my lane so that I can blink over to the small camp or to pull the hard camp or what have you. Whereas now it's more like, I'm going to get it done, of course, and I'm going to get the money for it, but I don't have that like super tight rotational thing where it's more about like, okay, I'm going to get this when I get this, and it's fine. And I mean, maybe it's just me kind of taking a more leisurely approach to the game right now.
No, I mean, I've totally had experiences where like, I don't know, I was like, it's like the bounty rune spawn. I was like, oh shit, do I have time to like go get the bounty rune? Or I think I was like jungling Lone Druid or something like that. And I was like, okay, like I want to take these ancients. They're almost dead. Oh no, but the bounty rune just spawned. Like, do I have time to go get it? Oh no, the minute mark is also like about to turn. It's like, actually no, I'm good. I can go pick up that bounty rune. I got plenty of time. Things been there for it's all good. I've had plenty of experiences where I'm like, I can actually just stop what I'm doing and be inefficient for 10 seconds just to like get some other objective before like the even minute mark spawns, and I'm not worried about like missing, just because a bounty rune's about to spawn doesn't mean that I have to finish this camp immediately. In fact, that means I have more time because I have like a full minute now before before like it actually matters.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in reference to mid, especially, one of the things that I've noticed, like farming efficiency wise, is just that since the game is more hectic and like more gangs are going and there's more action happening, and with like the changes to runes, especially if you're playing a bottle mid, that I feel like I've had to make a lot of hard calls where it's like, okay, I really need bottle charges. It didn't spawn at the rune that is close to me, or I don't have rune wards, so I don't know. And I need to decide, like, all right, am I going to make that trek and miss an entire wave of creeps by going all the way to my bounty to get 2 charges, or going and standing at the shrine for 5 seconds, or going all the way down to the bottom rune, which, even if it's there, it's still farther, like just walking distance from both Radiant and Dire. That's kind of been a hard call to make recently compared to before, where it's like, okay, I can just always know, like, I'm going to spam out a wave, push the wave, and then go get a rune, come back, and I'll miss like a creep or 2, and that's it. So that's kind of been the only thing I've really noticed recently, is like there's so many different runes and shrines to go to that I really need to make that like decision, like, okay, which one am I going to go to? And then like sometimes you're just screwed, and it's like, okay, well, like the rune didn't spawn at the one that I have vision of, and I don't have vision of the other one, so 50-50 chance I'm going to go there and it's not going to be there, or I'm going to go there and it's going to be there, and then I still miss like a bunch of stuff. So that's kind of something I've been noticing.
Yeah. That makes sense. I've noticed that a lot in mid. There's a lot of like hard choices or whatever, but also every so often I'm like, all these choices, oh god, oh wait, now I can just fucking bottle crow, we're fine.
Yeah, well, also, do you know the bottle crow abuse thing with the backpack now?
No. If you put the bottle in its backpack, does it move at 100% speed?
Yep. I don't know if that's fixed by the time this podcast comes out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to test that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's fixed yet, but there was a whole Reddit post about it. So since it was on Reddit, I'm sure it's fixed.
Yeah, god damn those kids.
Yep. They're hiding all our tricks.
Fucking assholes.
But, I mean, it's a pub. You can't bottle crow. People are going to freak out and be like, oh my god, I need my
bottle crow all the time.
I try to do it sometimes, and I like have to coax people into it. I'm like, I'm gonna bottle crow.
I'm very forceful. Oftentimes I bottle crow, and then like they get like a Wraithband recipe on it, but I'm like, you know what? That's fine. Like I'll get it, and I'm bottle crow, and it's all right. All right, let's see. Bottle. Give me this bottle. Is this fucking bottle?
Let's see.
There we go.
I'm waiting with bated breath.
I'm just like one-handing this. Sorry, it's gonna take a little time.
Yep. I will. Let's see. How can I kill time to speak while you're doing this?
Let's see. All right. So it's got 301 move speed. Shit! I sprinted it.
Oh my god, Proud.
301 move speed. Oh yeah, 430 within the backpack still. Great. Yep. Still works.
Yep. So
this is awesome.
That'll be our trick for the day.
I'm just gonna go bottle crow. I'm gonna leave this podcast and just go bottle crow.
Yeah. All right, so anything else on that topic before we hop into our actual combo this week, which is more of an informal combo this week?
No, I would just say that the main thing for efficiency right now is like you have to remember that you need to be farming the same time as your teammates, and you want to have everyone finish farming at kind of the same time, and do anything you can. Like look at the map, look where people are moving, look at what you think their path is going to be, and do everything you can to make your path just as long as theirs, and make sure that your paths don't hit each other until all the farm is done, and then go for some aggression after that. It's like a very predictable way to play Dota. But if you're actually pulling it off, you're going to win straight through efficiency. And the other team isn't going to, be like, oh man, it's, even minute mark 40 seconds. They just finished and now they're going to go for a smoke. Like, they're not going to predict that. At least until the metagame is totally figured out. And then it'll only be in like high MMR pubs that's predictable. But like, be efficient, finish the fucking map, and then smoke up with your team as soon as you're done with farming. That's good.
All right. So on that note, let's hop into our conversation on our combo. This week, we're not doing a very specific 2-hero combo. Instead, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be talking about Shadow Fiend and TA and picking one of the two. And then Proud is going to be talking about a few carries and picking one of however many he decides to speak about. So Shadow Fiend and TA are 2 heroes that Shadow Fiend especially was like unplayably bad last patch, and now he's way popular. Partially because people really like him, and also partially because he's actually good now. He has some really good talents, and he kind of fits the metagame pretty well. It seems like he could just fight a lot, and he does a lot. He does well with a shrine, and people are remembering like, oh hey, we have a Shadow Man on the team. Let's duo lane mid for the first couple waves, get him an advantage, and then he's like super dominant. And TA is really good. Similarly, she can fight all the time. She's hurt a little bit because she can't stack Ancients like she used to. But honestly, if you're playing TA, like, you should be farming your lane well anyway. So that's more of a crutch. Not a crutch, I shouldn't say that. That's more of like a fail-safe, where it's like, oh god, my lane went badly, I'll just take stacks that you don't have anymore. But her laning phase is good. I think I talked about this before, but Heaven's Halberd on her is quite good if you could fit it into your build.
Really?
And in the vast majority of games you can. Yeah, Heaven's Halberd, oh my god, it's amazing on TA. It's so good. I love it.
Why?
You get a ton of really useful stats that you don't get from other items, right? Because she doesn't build anything that gives her HP outside of BKB. And so if you're building the halberd, you get some armor from the Agi, some more mobility.
Are you talking about Hurricane Pike?
Sorry, Hurricane Pike. Oh my god, yeah.
I was like,
Hurricane
what
Pike.
the fuck? I mean, I guess, maybe. She gets evasion. Yeah. She seems like she could build Butterfly, though.
She can build Butterfly.
Hurricane Pike is great.
Yeah, Hurricane Pike is amazing on her. Yeah, it's late, and even when it's not late, I still mess up those two items all the time. They're both like, big pointy long things. Halberds, pikes, so similar.
Yeah, dude, I love polearms. That is my favorite kind of weapon.
Yep, I played back in Conquer Online. I played some polearm warriors. All right, but so TA fits really well.
Dynasty Warriors gave me such a love for polearms. Let me just say. Okay, go. You can go now.
Yep. All right. So the build on TA is still pretty similar to how it was, and like the playstyle overall is still pretty similar to how it was before. It's just that her talents are nice. In general, I have been going for attack speed, stats, damage, and then refraction instances.
Yeah, that's what I would go to. I was just giving it a cursory look, and I said, you know what? If I was a Sam, I would pick these ones.
And if you go to Dota Buff and look at the like plus win rate, a lot of heroes are like really close, like they're plus or minus 1% on each thing. It's very situational. Hers are not that way. If you look, 25 attack speed has a over 2% higher win rate. Stats are 2% higher win rate. Damage is 6% higher win rate than health for obvious reasons. And then refraction has a almost 10% higher win rate than minus respawn time. Like, her things are very decided for you already. Let's put it that way. So she's just really solid, honestly. I have not tested the being able to salve while refraction is up, but theoretically that should work because it's just like blink dagger in that interaction. So just a lot of things work well for her. Honestly, like, she's just really fun, and she fits that like constant fighting. You can put traps everywhere. She has a lot of things to TP to, which is something I've been noticing a ton about this patch so far, is that for all these like tanky heroes or hard to kill heroes like a TA who has refraction, or like a naturally tanky hero like a Spear Breaker or Treant or whatever, they not only like are tanky and whatnot, but their teammates have more things to TP to help them out. So if you're getting ganked on TA, and
you're gonna have time. It's not like a Queen of Pain where you just die in half a second. Like, you need time to get through your refraction, all that.
Well, yeah, you're gonna have time whether you have whether either kind of mitigation or delaying tactic, and that means your teammates can TP to you. And in previous patches, it'd be like, okay, well, if there's not a tower close by, you're screwed. But now with the shrines that are up for so long, it's like, okay, well, maybe my mid tier 1 is gone and I'm fighting at Rune, but that means, I could just have my teammates TP to the shrine. So that's been a big difference. I've really felt that. And then item wise, I still in most games go just basically what you do is Wraithband, Blightstone, or Wraithband, bottle, boots, Blightstone at the same time. Then you finish your treads, and then I usually have been going Deso first. Some people still definitely like the Blink first, but in most games I go Deso and then Blink, and then if you need a BKB, go BKB. Otherwise, go Hurricane Pike. And it's a lot of fun. The Blightstone in laning phase makes a huge difference, so definitely do that. And then I don't get meld until 8, 9, 10, 11. Instead, I just have 2-point Psyblades for early laning phase. I know it used to be like you get Psyblades at either 1 or 2, and then you get 1-point meld at 4. That was like a build that people used to do. But I think that's fallen out of favor with a lot of the high tier TA players I've watched, and I definitely prefer the double point Psyblades. And then you don't level Cyblade until like 12, 13, and by then you likely have a Dragonlance, and like her range becomes really, really, really good with like Dragonlance
that makes sense.
and Cyblades. So yeah, like TA route, a huge. If you like TA before, basically, you'll love her now, and I'm definitely in that camp. I'll say that much. She's so fun. I love her. On that note, Shadow Fiend, alternatively, he is a hero that I have a love-hate relationship with. I'll say that, because I think he's cool, but I also hate like him because everybody is just like Shadow Fiend players. There's like an archetype that I take issue with sometimes, maybe. But he's definitely really good now. I think this is in large part due to his talents. That like the hero itself didn't really receive like direct changes, but he can now take that one ancient camp. That's actually something I've noticed a not insignificant amount of times, where it's like, oh boy, I can like pretty much one shot this ancient camp at like level 7. Like that's super efficient. And then his talents are quite good. So generally people are taking 20 attack speed, 6% spell amp, 2 damage per soul, and then 150 attack range last.
Let me just say, the 15% evasion versus 2 damage per soul, if you go that evasion, if the pub doesn't kill you, I will.
Yeah, it's the win rate shows it, right? It's a 6.2% higher win rate on damage per soul, and it should be a lot higher than that. Honestly, I'm amazed that it's only 6.2%.
I played a pub with someone who got that, and I was like, dude, like, what were you thinking? What was the plan?
The plus 2 damage per soul is amazing. I would say it's almost the entire reason that he is viable, and also, and when we talk about like abusing little bugs right now, you can buy his Aghanims, get the souls in it, put it in your backpack in like super late game things, and you still maintain the souls.
Yeah,
so that's
super
a nice
good.
But yeah, so it's really makes a huge difference. His talents are amazing, and like we said, like he could fight a lot. If your lane isn't going great, you could just go back to a shrine and then raise down some waves. Like you can make more abusive raise plays early game, like pre-bottle to get your bottle, because you have that like pocket regen basically, like a little adjacent to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's just been doing great. A lot of people are doing like Shadowblade builds. Like you can just go like Dragonlance BKB is a very good thing. Like you just go treads bottle treads, of course. Dragonlance BKB or Blink BKB, and you just naturally have so much damage that you're really not suffering from just having an early BKB. Whereas other heroes,
Shadow Fiend is one of those heroes like he has all the damage built into him. You just need a delivery mechanism for his damage that he already has, and you need to just not die while you're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then after that, people are doing. I think almost every game I've played him, I've done Deso and Scotty, and those stacking makes the world of difference for him. And yeah, I mean, Silver Edge is still a really,
I've seen so much Shadowblade on this fucking hero, man. It's like so much.
Well, Shadowblade, I mean, we talked about this last patch, right? Like, they didn't nerf Silver Edge at all. Like, it's still an amazing item. So I'm definitely, it's one of those things where I kind of hate it fundamentally, like the gimmicky, like, oh, I'm going to Shadowblade and ult. But at the same time, like, it's actually good sometimes. It's also stupid sometimes, and people get themselves killed by walking into wards. But Shadowblade's just a really good item. And, like, Silver Edge is a really natural build-up, and then you can disassemble for your Scotty and then reassemble. Like, there's just so many advantages.
You lose a bit of gold when you do that, but yeah, you can.
Yeah. I mean, either way, right?
Yeah.
But, so
like, what do you like baseline build on him? Like, you go treads, Aquila, and like, do you bother with like an item for your mana or whatever? Or you just like go straight to Blink BKB?
I mean, if I have bottle and Aquila and maybe a raindrop if I need it.
Raindrop actually does smooth out your mana a shit ton.
Yeah, and then
or a wand or something like that. That sounds good.
Yeah,
I don't know. What do you think about ever? I mean, I guess if you go Wraithband, it doesn't really. It's not like you're gonna get a headdress or whatever, but not headdress. What's that fucking item? Veil. Yeah, like, what would you think about trying to Veil build on Shadow Fiend?
I don't dislike it, but I feel like if you're doing one of these like int base or not int based, but like ult based,
it's not even like int based or whatever. It's just like a veil instead of like Aquila and like a wand or whatever. I don't know. I don't know, Sam. I don't know.
It. It's just kind of like,
he doesn't really need the armor. Yeah.
And also the other thing is that like he benefit from the int, but the other thing is your ults are, if you're doing this Shadow Blade build, you're gonna not be able to use the Veil during your ult unless, like, I mean, it does slowly go out. So I guess theoretically you could.
Nah, you would. There's no synergy there.
Yeah, so that's kind of one thing that you'd suffer from, is that kind of like, yes, it would help your ult, but at the same time, you can't use it, right?
Yeah,
I could see it. Like, I wouldn't begrudge somebody going Veil and Shadow Fiend. I could easily see it becoming a thing, but right now I'm kind of not super into it. And you get like all the stats you want from like just that easy build of like Aki, Treads, Dragonlance early. Like, that's just a lot of int. It's no int practically. It's a lot of agi, a lot of strength. So I probably wouldn't do it, but I would not, like I said, begrudge somebody for doing it. It's cool theory crafting wise, actually. I could see it.
Yeah. I feel like you kind of need the wand, and then you're pretty good. Like, if I had, I'm just like looking at items right now, and like just kind of add a baseline of like Aki, Treads, wand, blink, bottle, TP. Like, that seems fine. I have this. I'm like level 10 or something like that. I have what, like 566 mana. Yeah, that's fine. I can like ulti and then use. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. I can use like 4 or 5 raises in ulti with that much mana, and I'm not even tread swapping. That seems fine. I feel like the wand seems pretty core though, and then like as you level up, you'll get more int. Then you can like sell the wand and get, you know, like your BKB or whatever, and go on from there.
Yeah, the wand is definitely important on these kind of heroes that are very like, you have like a close, I don't know how to phrase it, but like if you have like a close margin of like mana you need versus mana you have, that wand makes all the difference. Like 1 or 2 raises, right? Like, that's a huge difference in a team fight.
Yeah, and also, I mean, the game is so skirmishy, right? So that it's pretty common that you're going to build up wand charges.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that's about all I have to say for those 2 heroes. So let's hop into the carries you've been eyeing out.
Okay, all right. So if I wanted to look at these 2 heroes and what to pair with them, these are 2 heroes that kind of allow you to play almost whatever sort of carry that you want. When I used to play a lot of Lone Druid in the safe lane, I would look for certain things in my mid laner, and one of those, like the 2 carries that would normally enable me to play a Lone Druid would be a TA or a Shadow Fiend or something. Ember Spirit somewhat too, but and the kind of like unique principle that they have is that they have a lot of single target physical damage. Not like an Ember Spirit, which is kind of like this like AoE magic damage thing, but like they're mids that can man up on another carry and normally at least do pretty well. So they kind of can take over the role of the carry that is going to, like, I don't know, face tank the enemy carry. Like, if you're dealing with a Juggernaut or something, like, you want someone who's going to be able to stand there in the fight and, like, you know, not let him just run over your team, right? And Shadow Fiend and TA kind of do that. They can be sort of team fight anchors for you. So you can kind of go whichever direction you want. You don't really have a niche to fill. You can just pick whatever actually synergizes with them. And one obvious one, they're right clickers. And they obviously have some kind of use for attack speed. So Troll Warlord goes well with both of them. They're minus armor heroes. So someone who naturally builds a Deso isn't so great with the TA, but someone who naturally builds a Deso like a Lifestealer is really good with the Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend is also one of those, like, I don't know, I have a kind of weird like synesthesia about things in general, but Shadow Fiend is just kind of like this big box, and you kind of just like throw them down there, and if they don't have a box of their own, they just can't get over it. Like if you have 2 tanky fighty cores like Lifestealer and Shadow Fiend, that's just like a lot of beef for the enemy team to deal with, right? Like it's just fucking hard. The boxes are too big. You can't beat that with triangles, man.
Yeah, that's definitely, I think we can all think of games where you lose it because it's like, okay, well, they just have too many cores that are just difficult to deal with. Like, they're
if they have like a Jungle Legion and then like a Lifestealer and a Shadow Fiend, like, what do you do against that? I mean, if you have a ton of damage and a lot of CC, you can manage it.
Yeah, or like
but
big fight.
Yeah, but if they're all like decently farmed and you have like a Spectre, like, they're just gonna fucking kill the Spectre. Like, they're just gonna kill him, and they're gonna be tanky, and they're not gonna like fucking fall over from anything. So having another kind of tanky core that can just, you know, like be in the middle of the fight like a Lifestealer with Shadow Fiend is good. TA is a little bit different. You want someone that can kind of hold down the fight so TA can weave in and out of it. which is another reason I kind of do like Troll Warlord. I'm kind of probably just going to play Troll, honestly, because I like Troll right now, and he's pretty good for it. But like Luna's decent with Shadow Fiend. You kind of want a melee in general. Both these heroes, I like playing Lone Druid. Oh, excuse me. I like playing Lone Druid with pretty decently. Another good hero that can go with Shadow Fiend is like Slark. Slark can be in and out of the fight, and Shadow Fiend's just kind of like big and bulky and have his BKB popped, and Slark can kind of deal with whoever's got, you know, like the silver bullet, like a lion or whatever, to lock him down. But yeah, so for Shadow Fiend, I feel like you want kind of one of those like dodgy heroes to kind of make up for the amount of teamfight space that Shadow Fiend opens up for your team. Or even, you know, like you initiate a team fight with Slark and they're focusing on you, and then bam, Shadow Fiend fucking comes in there, and they don't have the positioning to, you know, properly deal with the Shadow Fiend, and even if they do, they have to rush up to him, and then he blows up and they all fucking die anyways. So something like that for Shadow Fiend. And for TA, you want someone that can kind of hold down the team fight a little bit. And for both of them, they're both right clickers, so if you do have a core that does accent that, like you have like Troll Warlord is great. Even like a Faceless Void safe lane is very good with that. Lycanthrope is decent. And an off lane like Legion Commander or whatever to give them like that dispel or the heal or the attack speed from that. And even Sven, I feel like, is pretty good with them, but Sven is a little bit more like, he doesn't have as many like you can't go Sven Shadow Fiend really, because I mean they both want to AoE farm the fuck out of everything, right? I wouldn't play Phantom Assassin with them, but Juggernaut you can also play with Shadow Fiend. Juggernaut with a healing ward is fantastic, and just like, I don't know, this is kind of where I'm not as great at describing it, because when I look at these heroes, they're just like, they have these general shapes in my head, and Juggernaut's shape just works perfectly with Shadow Fiend's.
Yeah, and like you can do that kind of snowball push thing where like you a Shadow Fiend lobbing shadow balls with a Dragon Lance, and like there's a nice timing that those two heroes hit, I feel. Like whenever I've played that combo or seen that combo played, that it's really like you could just walk around, take all the tier 2s with like a Jug with like one item and boots and like decent levels, and a Shadow Fiend with like one item and boots and decent levels.
Yeah, if you just kind of think about like when you insert... Okay, so here's this like vision that I have. You think of like a science classroom like video or whatever, like they show you a bunch of molecules and then you introduce some chemical and the molecules all like disperse and do weird shit like that. Like think of that, only the molecules are heroes, and then like what happens when you introduce a Shadow Fiend into this like sterile environment? All the molecules like kind of scatter, and they do like very weird things, and they move around and they try to figure out how to deal with this new Shadow Fiend. And then the Juggernaut fucking like works perfectly off of like everyone kind of lances away from the Shadow Fiend, and then the people who can fight him kind of go forward, and everyone has to like kind of spread out and do weird shit. And then Juggernaut like does perfectly, like as soon as they get unorganized, Juggernaut is going to pick off a key target with Omni Slash, and then there's going to be more disarray, then he can drop his healing ward, and they're not going to have enough like presence of mind to deal with the healing ward and the fucking Shadow Fiend that they were just trying to like deal with and all that shit. Like they just work really well together.
All right, so you were talking about Troll earlier. I guess just to close this out before we hop into our game, let's talk about Troll a little. Why do you think Troll is better, and what do you like about him?
Let me give him a little clickaroo real quick, and I'll look at these talents. I can't find him. There he is. Great. I feel like his talents are pretty good. Like getting 10 agi at level 10 is really solid. And then this like the choice between 6 armor and 50 move speed is pretty good. Honestly, I can go either way. But for the most part, I think in general I like the 6 armor, but it is very dependent upon the team you're going against. And then he gets like plus 40 damage. That's really all that I need to look at. In any of these heroes that have like a big plus damage spell, they normally work out pretty well. Like 40 damage is a ton. It's like fucking like more than 2,000 net worth you just get. And Troll Warlord is one of those heroes that you need all these items so badly on him, but it just leaves him without any plus damage. Like he has attack speed built in, but he needs to be tanky and he needs to be holding on to people. So like Scotty is fantastic. S and Y is fantastic. I was going actually I don't really like Hum of the Dom on him. Like you don't need the attack speed aura, and I do like controlling the like getting an Alpha Wolf or whatever with you. Oh man, did I go that? Okay, I need to see. There was some game where I went like this weird item build on Troll, or at least what looked like it was gonna be new, and I was super happy with it. No, I think I just went the flat mask because the 15 damage that it gives now is like incredible, and I was like, I'll get a satanic later. Yeah, okay, so I went Phase Boots, Aquila, Morbid Mask, and then I just went like a fucking Shadow Blade. I was just gonna go Silver Edge, but just because of the game for various reasons, I just went Shadow Blade into BKB, and then I have Scotty. And
that's what Fear does. Except he builds, instead of just the mask, he builds the full HOD. I'm just looking at some troll builds.
Mask doesn't go into Helm of the Dawn, buddy.
Well, no, I'm just saying like instead of mask, he goes Phase Aki HOD, right? Because yours was Phase.
Yeah, maybe I'll try that. I was just so attracted by the 15 damage now because like that's just like a timing where he really does want the damage. But I mean, yeah, like the Dom is great, and Troll has a lot of built-in attack speed, but it's still nice to have that initial like 20 attack speed just to kind of build him up. Because you know, like you want your ball to start rolling, but it's not going to start at all if you have no attack speed. That's why a lot of people like the Echo Saber on him, because like you just fucking, as soon as you get on someone, 2 attacks and then you're fucking off to the races. But if you start with your ulti, there's no point to the Echo Saber, so it can go kind of either way.
The thing I really like about HOD on him is that like there are just so many creeps that give you so many different buffs that are he really needs. Right? Like not only obviously the easiest one to bring up is like the Alpha Wolf is real good, but on top of that, the Frost Ogre is one of those creeps that people underestimate so much, and it does an absurd amount. It's what, like 10 armor addition. 8. I know it's somewhere around there, like somewhere in that like 7 to 10 range, but that's pretty so good on Troll. Like if you're sieging a tower and you just put that on you, like you're gonna take no damage, and it like lets you kind of delay that period where you have to build like tanky items like BKB and whatnot. Sure. Obviously, it depends on the game, right? But I know I've played plenty of games where somebody like either has a Chen or an Enchantress dominated creep, and it's like, okay, well, I should be able to kill this person, but it's 12 minutes and they have like 8 armor additional. Like what an absurd amount, like.
And then, like the Satyr Purge creep is fantastic, obviously. Yeah, and there's a lot of various stuff, and people are using like people are just getting much better with them. Like you can use them to scout while you're doing random shit.
You can slow and then move a centaur up.
Yeah, I just like Troll Warlord works so well with attack speed. Like as soon as you get to that point where you're just balling on someone, like you can get Huskar level where your health just doesn't drop because you're pulling out like so much damage as long as you have uptime. And I just love Lifesteal on him so much. But I mean, I guess eventually you just sail for the Satanic once your damage actually gets to that point. But it just seems so weird for me to not go Lifesteal on him. But also, I mean, Helm of the Dom is like 8 regen, which is basically infinite as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of Vlads also on him. Like,
yeah, I hate that shit. Like, don't go Vlads on Troll.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just
it's a lot. Yeah, none of the like 7K plus people are doing it, but a lot of the like
good reason.
A lot of the like 5,500 and below are doing it. They're doing like
yes. There's so many people win Vlads. Like even when Troll was good in 682 or whatever, 684,
683.
683, yeah, well, somewhere in there.
Or no, 684, yeah.
Okay, and 684, a lot of people going like either Vlads or Dom, and like, God, the Vlads was just, ugh.
Well, I think the thing I'm seeing that kind of makes a bit of sense to me is that when you're getting the, if you're going phase Vlads, you skip Aki, so that's like you're getting the full effect of the, what's it called? The Bassi, but you're not investing that extra 500 in the Wraith Pen, instead investing that into into the Vlads, so it makes the Vlads effectively feel cheaper. Obviously, you're missing a bit of Agi. I'm not into it, I'll be honest. I think the HOD though is really cool. But
I'll probably try to, because I mean, like such a big part of Troll, with the Dom was like the creep that you dominated and like the utility that it provided you. So I'll probably actually try that this game then. But I still do like the casual Morbid Mask. I feel like if you're not comfortable with the micro and the creep, you can still totally go that. The 15 damage that it provides you is fantastic now. Yeah, and it just, fucking Shadow Blade or Silver Edge is so good on him. So you can just go Dom or Morbid Mask, Aquila, probably get like a Wand or Windlace or whatever, in your Phase Boots and all that, and then go for Shadow Blade or Silver Edge, and then I have Scotty. It's pretty great.
Yeah, it's just classic, build a bunch of stats, make it so you can jam on people. That's about it on Troll.
Yep. Jam time.
All right, so on that note, I think we're going to hop into our game, our late night game, and that'll be on youtube.com/.ptv1, numerical 1. We will have both our POVs up. It should be a fun time. I'm looking forward to it. And that's about it. So let's hop into the game, and we'll catch you on the other side.
Catch you up on the other side. Go.
All right, Villa 1, we are back. We have completed our game. Where to begin with this game?
Yeah, it's a fair question.
This game had many things going on. I guess I'll just read off the teams first. The enemy team had a Pudge, Legion Commander, Slark, Ember Spirit, and Earth Spirit. The Ember Spirit and Earth Spirit were their partied people. Everybody else was solos. On our team, we had a Anti-Mage, a Techies, Proud on Lone Druid, me on TA, and a Underlord. Judging by, or anybody listening to this can say, oh, hey, those teams both make no sense. How did you lane these things? The enemy team, what was it? They had a Jungle Legion Commander, a safe lane Slark, a off lane Pudge, and off lane Legion Commander.
Yeah.
Duo mid, and then duo.
We just
bot.
had like a roaming Pudge and a roaming Earth Spirit.
Earth Spirit was not really roaming; he was mid the whole time, or at least for like the first 6 minutes or so. And then our team, we had a offlane duo lane Underlord Techies. Underlord roamed a little bit, but he was mostly bottom. You jungled, and we had a safe lane Anti-Mage. We had some what I would call interpersonal issues from the get-go, being that I had the first pick TA because 3 people all clicked to mid immediately, and it's 2 a.m. here, so I was not going to be playing another game, so I just had to first pick TA, and then obviously you can see from all the counter picks on the enemy team, I did not have refraction up for longer than maybe a quarter of a second during any fight whatsoever. And then our Anti-Mage, who claimed to be a Smurf, he started shouting racial slurs, so it was that kind of game. You can tell by my tone that we lost. This game did not instill in me a great appreciation for the lovely game of Dota 2. I'll put it that way.
I did great. I did fucking fantastic.
Yeah, Proud individually had a fun time.
Yeah, I was top net worth for like the entirety of that game until we lost. Jungle Lone Druid is fine. I got harassed in the first bit, but I just like went to the offlane jungle, and then Earth Spirit was like, well, I'm not gonna bother trying to find this kid. I'm just gonna gank mid all game, and he did that. And then it was just a lot of deaths, and I was just like, fuck it, I'm going Midas. Be goon in this game. It's gone. This game sucks. So I just got my items and I just killed everyone, and then eventually they had enough health to not immediately die. And it was a kind of not a 1v5able game. I tried out Scotty, didn't really like it, so live and learn.
Yeah, I didn't really learn anything from this game, I'll be honest. It was mostly just suffering and miserable. Honestly, I haven't had a game like this in a long time, I'll be perfectly honest. Like, I've had bad games where but this game was just one of those games where it's like everything was just worthless, and like me and Proud were joking that we were glad to lose the end just so that AM would lose MMR because he's losing solo MMR and we're losing party MMR. And that's not to say that we didn't
really
try.
A despicable human. To be 4,300 and try to take core positions away from like your 5Ks or whatever, and then also to say that you're a Smurf, and then also to throw racial slurs the second anyone is like, maybe you let me play core. That was a very lackluster human being. So
it's a real triple threat.
Yeah. So at least that person lost.
Yeah, thank God, dude. The Ember Spirit, Earth Spirit, mid lane, like even if I wasn't playing TA, if I was playing any hero, That is such a sick duo, honestly.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, well, you should. I mean, like, if you're gonna first pick a mid, you should pick Shadow Fiend and not first pick TA. Like, that's just obvious to me. But if you were just dying a bunch on Shadow Fiend, that would have been just as bad.
Shadow Fiend would have been worse, honestly, I think.
Well, yeah, because of how little support you would get, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, objectively, like, if I was drafting and I had to first pick a mid, I would 100% first pick SF.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you there. But, I mean, if these teams were the same, but I was playing Shadow Fiend instead of TA, my game would have been worse, I think.
Yeah, yeah, for the most part.
Well, I mean, there's no way I'm going to get souls with 4 cores on my team. Or 3 cores.
That's fair.
And me, of course. I struggle to think of any mid laner that's not like DK that would survive through this Ember Spirit or Earth Spirit thing without support.
Yeah.
Like, it changes, of course, if you have like a Pudge or a Earth Shaker or whatever, like some roaming support on your team. But no like solo mid laner is going to live through getting Earth Spirit. So Earth Spirit would roll in, and then he would slow me, and then he would kick me back if I was positioned well. He would kick me into the Ember Spirit, who would root me, and then have his shield going. So of course I never had refraction charges. And
yeah, I mean maybe Queen of Pain after the disables ended, but but even that is like maybe
even then it's like, well, he has a natural silence, so like he gets level 3, and then you're dying instead of me dying at level 2.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
it's a tough
OD
lane.
maybe would have been fun.
Yeah.
Like I would just astral the Ember Spirit and run away.
Yeah,
but
he
even then,
still does flame guard damage.
The issue more so with any mid matchup, and this will make it into an actually applicable piece of information compared to me just complaining about my sad game. Whenever you're playing mid and you have one of these kind of situations, it's though the incremental advantages add up and ruin everything. So, for instance, the Earth Spirit was babysitting the Ember Spirit for the first few minutes, and they executed ganks like two or 3 times. I think one of the times I escaped and we got a double kill on them because Underlord rotated in, which was good. But he set up the Ember Spirit for success in a huge way. And especially in this matchup, which is already not a great matchup for TA, there is some like theory crafting, like people are like, oh, you should do meld builds to make it work. But because Ember Spirit's armor is so low, but honestly that doesn't really work anymore with the way things have shaken out. But so at a certain point, like I got my bottle late, of course, because I had died like twice. And not only did he have bottle advantage a little earlier, so he could continue that aggression, but once he had boots advantage, that's when he can solo kill me. And then he has level 6 when I'm level like 5 or like late into level 4. And it's just one of those things where, especially if you're like a support player, like seeing this kind of thing is just like, that's what differentiates really good supports, roaming supports that is, from like the ineffectual roaming supports that do a whole lot of nothing. Like this roaming support, Earth Spirit did way more to lead this Ember Spirit to success than the Ember Spirit himself did. Supports in the mid lane are absurd. Like it makes the world of difference. Like it really is like the epitome of like setting somebody up for success. Like the Ember Spirit would have to be an idiot to lose the lane at that point. Like if you have boots and bottle advantage and an Aki.
Well, I mean, if any of the Ember, like if the Earth Spirit like missed his roll in a few times, like that would have been pretty worthless. But yeah, like a successful mid roaming is the whole game.
But I mean, but even then, like I definitely agree with you. Like if he was a bad Earth Spirit, and like had missed a bunch of stuff, like I would have just like walked back to my tower. But the fact of the matter is, even if he had done that, him threatening me, and Earth Spirit's nice because he can engage from so far away that he doesn't need to soak XP. But even if like his ganks hadn't worked out and killed me, I would have been like either going back to base or bottle crowing or something. But B, like that just means Ember Spirit can free farm. So even if Ember Spirit's not getting kills per se, he's still getting secured farm just because of the pressure that the Earth Spirit is providing. So it was really like a really strong duo, honestly. And also they were partied together, so like they had that synergy. So it's something to think about if you're a support player. Is watch that VOD and just watch how like Earth Spirit's coming at me from all angles. or just go to the match ID and like watch it yourself from his perspective, which I'm sure is very insightful. So I mean that's about it for me that game. I could talk about my items, but they're not super relevant because it was just like triage, like me just buying random. Like I went bottle Aki treads, and then Hurricane Pike, because like there's no way I was gonna be able to afford a Deso or a Blink. Like I could not hold on to money for my life.
Yeah.
And then I just went BKB, and then I was gonna go back and finish Deso. But like the BKB, I got at the point where I was like, well, they're all doing physical damage now, so this is pointless. But it was just one of those games where like literally nothing goes right ever.
Yeah, I mean that game might have been a win if I played it a little bit less fast and loose, but it's really difficult to try really hard to like have someone else win when the game is going like that and you have that anti-mage and you're like, I want you to be upset.
Yeah, it's one of those games where like one of those like 1 in 1,000 games where I understand why people grief. Like it's one of those games where like, even though we were recording, there was a serious moment in time where I was like, I should just feed down. Like I just want to feed couriers at this point. Like this is such a colossal waste of my time and effort.
I mean, he was like doing terrible. He was like flaming. It's like, dude, you're 0-2 right now. Like, what are you on about?
Yeah.
And you like, oh god, anyway. Okay, I'll say like one thing. So there was this like legion that I was like going to kill, and he's like, yo, kill this legion. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm like fucking going there. And then he just like face tanks her, and she just kills him with right clicks. And I was like, why didn't you blink away? Like, what the fuck are you doing? And he just was, slurs, and I was like, okay, we're done.
Yeah, I muted him much quicker than that. But it definitely was one of those games. He got a couple reports, so thank God.
Yep.
Anyway, I mean that's kind of done. That's kind of me. I'm done with the game. Do you have any more comments at the end before we close out?
I wish I could have played Troll. I was talking that up a lot, and I was excited to play it, but my safe lane got stolen by a solo safe lane anti-mage, so obviously that didn't happen. Lone Druid, playing Lonely Druid build is actually absurdly good. I've come to the conclusion that it's actually just fucking insanely strong. I died. We lost fights in front of our base several times, and I respawned before they could take a building like 3 times. Yeah. It's incredible. Scotty was totally game losing though. Never gonna go Scotty again.
Or at least not that early. Like, would you get something first?
Yeah. Like, so the thing with the Lone Druid is that you need a lot of lockdown. Like, otherwise they can just walk away from your right clicks, right? Like, you're right clicking from like 800 range or whatever. And honestly, by the time your right click hits them, there's 3 more on the way. But like, if they just like keep running, like they can honestly just like, they'll have a bunch of projectiles coming at them. They like Manta or whatever to destroy it, and you're just like 500 damage. It's just invalidated. Yeah. But like, you want people to kind of stay in the same area. Kind of the idea is it's honestly, I play it almost as just a delivery mechanism for Maelstrom procs. And like, I do so much AoE team fight damage through that. Like, the procs get so insane. But like I want something to kind of hold them in place because my Bear's Entangle isn't quite as reliable because it doesn't have a lot of attack speed. So I thought the Scotty would be good, and it kind of was, but it's just like in a big team fight like that, like a really weak Drow Frost Arrows is not going to hold, the enemy team together. So I should just focus on getting the AC so my Bear gets more attack speed too, and like my whole team just kind of does better. And it's kind of like we're just like roaming fucking war party with my AC, and then I just do the standard thing that I do with I go with like Mjolnir, AC, Deso. I feel like that's still really strong. Just go with that and go for the hard damage, and then after that go Scotty or whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I definitely think like also, Scotty first on any hero, or even like Scotty after.
Yeah, it was like 3rd or whatever. It was. I went HOTD into Mjolnir, and then I was trying the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I had the Mjolnir for it, and then I tried Scotty after that. But I think just like a casual basher on the Bear is better than Scotty in terms of like, getting some lockdown. Like if I have AC, so my Bear has like Helm of the Dominator, attack speed, plus I'll probably have my Midas because I'm having enough slots. So he's got like 30 attack speed from the Midas, 10 from the Dom. I'll probably end up putting the Dom on the Bear too. So, and then I'll have like the AC Ore too, which is about 20 attack speed now or something. So I'll have total like 60 attack speed. Or, a bit more than that, 60, 70 attack speed, which is pretty solid. Plus Rabbids, who's got like 120 attack speed or some shit like that on him. And that's probably, and plus like a casual basher on him, that's probably good.
Yeah, and you're already getting stats on your hero from the HOD
Yeah, well, not if I move the HOD, but I mean, I've got enough. Like, I level up enough that I have stats at that point. So
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, it's a fun time.
Yeah.
Love this hero. And honestly, the micro is so fucking cool. Like, the micro is insanely hard. I love it. Like, my positioning, like, I was lancing my bear around so much just to, like, block every hook. And eventually, if I ever got to a point where I was just, like, jamming on someone, I would just sit there and be like, I'll probably get hooked. It's like, whatever, I don't care. But, like, anytime it was, like, really fucking, like, running away and I'm moving my bear around and shit, and I try to keep my bear in front of me, but I'm faster than my bears. Oh, it's great. I love this hero.
Yep. I'm glad you had fun.
Yeah, dude, I really did. Honestly, Lone Druid is the fucking coolest hero that's ever been put into this game.
Before I am any more negative, I think we're going to close the show out because this is just how Dota goes sometimes. I think at the end of the day,
Sometimes you just have bad games.
Yep. Sometimes it just happens. When it rains, it pours, as they say. All right, so let's hop into our plugs, close this out. I, of course, am at Ursinity on Twitter. Proud is at ProudDota on Twitter. Our show is at @Doppy_show on Twitter. You can find our website, defenseofthepatients.com. On there is an Amazon banner if you'd like to support us. Order your things on Amazon through there, especially with all those Amazon gift cards I'm sure we all got over winter. I say that as though I got any, but I did not get any Amazon gift cards this year. My sister cleaned up, though. Oh, my God, dude.
And what'd she get?
She made bank. Well, her birthday is the 27th, too, so she gets, double presents. She made more money this year, I think, than I ever did when I was a kid. On, like, Christmas or birthday or anything. So I'm jealous. Even as an adult with a job and money. Anyway, you can watch our VODs, youtube.com/.ptv1. It's a numeric 1. You could watch us stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/.ptv. I know I'm going to be streaming up there again after taking my hiatus. Since I wasn't playing ranked and all that. You can email us questions for the Tuesday show at defenseofthepatients@gmail.com. You can also attend and potentially be on the show. Ask your question live. We do those Monday evenings, usually around 7 p.m. Eastern. But just check the Discord, discord.gg/.b. And that's how you'll figure out the specifics of timing and all that. We always make a bunch of posts right before it happens. You can also catch us on Reddit, r/defenseofthepatients. And last but not least, if you pop us an iTunes review or a Patreon subscription or just a one-time donation, you can cancel it right after. That is greatly appreciated. Any support for the show is great support. So tell a friend, do whatever. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching if you watch the VODs. Thank you just in general. And good night, goodbye, or good morning. I don't know when people listen to this show. Good morrow.
Right.
Goodbye.